people that are around him.
Right.
Whereas,
Yeah, that's a great point. If he there's some rapport, he's much better.
Bruce, do you have your answer for the C block?
Well, the name?
That one's who do you want for a strikeout? If you have one
Yeah, I'll
strikeout.
take it. Yeah, I'm gonna be Chapman.
Okay. Thank you.
If we have repeated ones, I can pick somebody else, but he would be my initial choice. We don't want to all agree on the same guy, right?
What's that,
Yeah,
Bruce?
Pete had Chapman, but we'll see what JD has or who JD has.
But Pete had
What's
Chapman
that for?
too.
Pete had Chapman for his pitcher too. Yeah.
I can always go. I can always do a Kerry Wood.
Yeah, that'd be great. Better get that video in, and we'll love seeing Kerry Wood for sure.
Chapman's the obvious guy. I mean, he's just
You're
15
not worried about
strikeouts per
him.
9 innings. Walking guys depends if he's been throwing like 4 or 5 days in a row. I would take him. I wouldn't take him now. I'd take Hader now.
Yeah, Hader will go
I
9
mean,
strikeouts.
Hader's filthy.
Yeah, that's 15 strikeouts per 9 innings. It's just there's not too many of those guys in history. Chapman just has done it for so long.
Yeah, he's got that.
Who's your guy, Cole? Who's your guy?
I'm gonna go Lee Smith, man. I mean, I would go Chapman.
All right.
That's obvious, but I'll go Lee Smith if I have to go with someone else.
Good call. You gotta back it up to the metrics people. The metrics department they have to go along with you.
What about Marmol? He's got highest K per 9 in Cubs history.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, his was like what, 16 or something like that, 17.
It was up there. I looked at the list earlier today, and Mark Pryor was number 2 actually.
Yeah, he was probably about what was he, like 13 or 14?
It's crazy, Bruce. I had one of the, when you talk about mechanics and you look at Mark Pryor, the way how perfect he was mechanically, by definition. But when I worked at Nesson in Boston, I remember it was one of the first conversations I had with Dennis Eckersley, and I'm sure Eck, you guys have crossed paths, but he just talks. He says whatever's on his mind. But we're sitting there watching, and someone's sitting there dogging out Tim Lincecum's mechanics, and then Eck's like, well, who's to say that one set of mechanics is the same set of mechanics for every dude? Like Lincecum is getting after it with what he does, and his mechanics are completely off the wall. But then he said, look at Mark Pryor's mechanics. They're perfect. And he stayed hurt. So it's like, who's to say mechanics are mechanically sound for everybody.
It's true. It's a great
Because
point.
if there was ever a
everybody.
blueprint, it was Mark Pryor.
Yeah, but every body type's so different. I mean, longer arms, longer
Yep.
fingers. Those are. I mean, you look at a guy like
Pedro's
Satchel
fingers.
Paige. Satchel Paige had arms that his hands came down to his ankles.
Absolutely.
Okay, so there was, just the mechanical part of it was so off the chart.
Yeah, that's true, man.
You see it in football, basketball too. You see the reasons. You don't. You can't really. I'd like to see a mechanical breakdown of why Michael Jordan could fly. Okay, where others couldn't stay airborne as long as Jordan could.
I mean, I feel like there's guys
know.
who are better jumpers and leapers, but I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
knowing the right time to jump, timing those perfect. Almost like on the flip side, if you look how Dennis Rodman timed every single rebound to perfection. It's like knowing when to move at the right time. That ball's hitting there, like Rodman, pow, going here, going there, gotta go. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jordan being able to mechanically move around in the air while he's airborne and
Yeah.
not being on the way down. Just the fluidity of his movement as he's moving up. And it's just like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to move it to my right hand, my left hand, and then I'm going to scoop it in with the other hand. It's just like,
I mean, the only thing I feel like I've ever seen in any sport that's comparable is, late in Barry Bonds' career when he'd get 3 pitches a week to hit and he'd hit 2 of them out. I mean, no matter
Yeah.
what, whatever the circumstances were, you looked at the amount of intentional walks, how many pitches that were actually hittable, and how many he actually hit.
Well, it's they tell you that with steroids, the ability to see and concentrate were so impacted that those were part of the tools that were that were even enhanced even more than strength. And when you add that in with one of the great players in history to begin with, you have a robot. Barry Bonds was a
Dangerous.
robot. No,
He was.
He wasn't
You can tilt
real.
back down and touch JD if you can hear me.
I got you.
I like the fact, though, that you do
Down.
acknowledge him as
Yeah,
one of the
just
greatest
right there,
players of all time,
perfect.
because there's really no doubt. I mean, the guy's skill
Thank you.
set is unbelievable. I mean, to win 7 MVPs which is an award given by the media when 98% of the media seem to hate him, it's pretty convincing.
No, I mean but I liked him. I liked him pre 2000. He was as great a player as there was. For the only thing he couldn't do was he didn't have a great arm, but he had a tremendously accurate arm. So he was a 5-tool player. The throwing tool was really good because he threw out a lot of guys because of getting rid of the ball quickly and being very accurate. Not great
sure.
Hey
strength.
JD, how's it going? It's Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. How are you?
What's up, JD? Bruce and I just been
Got your
yakking
Vegas
away.
shirt
What's
on,
up, man?
ready to go?
Say again?
Sorry, guys. The Kennedy was a parking lot.
I said, Pete, you got your Vegas shirt on, all ready to go?
Yeah, how's it look? How's it? I'm using new headphones today. They sound okay?
Yeah, everything sounds good on our end.
Sound good to me. Can you give me a slow 10 count, Pete, since you are using the headphones real quick, if you don't mind?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Perfect. Thank you.
One quick note. One quick thing for JD and Pete. I just forgot to throw this in the rundown. We just have to tape a quick segment for Memorial Day at the end, and it's just going to be who do you think America's team is? It'll be at the end of the show. Won't be long, and you can argue that there is no America's team, or you can pick a team to make an argument for. But just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Sorry, I forgot to put that on the email earlier today.
You got it.
What you got there, JD? Is that a stirring spoon? Tea. Nice.
Little
Nice.
spoon, little tea. Little throat coat.
Nice. I'm a big fan of that ginger and turmeric tea.
I'll give it a whirl.
I mean, they have it at Trader Joe's. They have it everywhere. It's pretty good. Like if you're ever feeling like, a little under it, or if you feel like a little tickle, I mean, it knocks it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable.
Good to know.
Let's
like
run through
the road. Go ahead.
Sorry, Cole. Let's just run through the A-block here while we're getting framed up. So we're coming on hi, hello, teasing the topics, go to the 4-shot, and then you're going to toss to and lay out for a Sotful Pierzynski Barrett fight from the game. And then you'll pick it up from there. You can just pause, count yourself back in, and then we're going to our Miller Lite refreshing take. The Cubs-White Sox rivalry is the one that matters most for Cubs fans. And at the end, we're teasing Michael Barrett interview joining the show. Michael Barrett and all of his kids joining the program.
Nice.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, Pete.
The the Cubs-White Sox rivalry matters more to Cub fans than any other
That's a hot
team.
take.
Than any other rivalry.
That's a very
so if you're a
hot
Cubs fan,
But
if you're a Cubs fan, the team that you want to beat most is the White Sox, and that's why it's our refreshing take. Not exactly
I feel like it matters
correct.
to like.
Are you sure about that?
It matters to like maybe like 1,100 cats on the south side. maybe 1,200, give or take. It's dried out there a little bit, JD.
Yeah, much better today. Not a lovely day by any means, but we've been in the cloud had been in the cloud for about 2 days here.
Were you able to get out and play? I know you said you were going to go to the course.
I actually got out yesterday. It was a little
How'd you
soft,
feel?
a little wet, but doable. Good. It's hard, man, walking 18 holes on it. That's work.
I know. How are your feet? That's the main question. If you walked 18,
Yeah.
because my feet look like, whew.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, I mean, they're just getting over it. I had blisters on 2 toes, man. It was rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going for the medical exemption next time.
Right? Yeah. Who was the guy who
I'm
played
just
at
making sure you
Stanford?
guys saw the test there.
Casey what?
Yeah, Casey something.
That was quite the Stanford team. I got it, Andrew. Hello, everyone. Nota Begay, Tiger Woods. Is Casey Martin? Is that his name?
That's it. You are correct, sir.
It's quite a USC team. That probably would have won more championships if old Eldrick stayed.
Can you guys all see that text that I just put in there?
Oh,
Thanks,
Oh,
man.
I forgot about the
I got you.
Sorry.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Yep, got it.
Dusold, we're all good on the back end now? Yep, take your time.
So what's this this expected breaking news? Is this a good sign? Are there waves being made in the direction of I saw the NBA is looking to resume. Pete, what you got your ear to the train tracks or what?
Are we talking about JD or are we talking about the NBA?
No, I was talking about. I saw you. Were you going to hear more about breaking news? With baseball, since we heard from the NBA saying they're looking like they're going to start here pretty soon.
Boy, I hope so. Who's going to be the first one out of the box? I really thought it was going to be the NBA, but they said they need a month ramp up, right? NHL made an announcement. They want to finish the season. I don't know. Oh, shoot.
No,
get off Wi-Fi here.
Isn't it? I mean, is it crazy to you guys when everyone's like, yeah, these guys, I mean, I know that everybody, you need a little dust off period, but like, I know like the game situations, you don't have those when you take a break. But I mean, JD, you would think that every guy that had started ramping up and spring training was already in full swing. Once you continue that, you continue with all your running. It's not like once everything got shut down, you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to shut everything down until I hear, anything more.
Right. I think, the fact that they were able to give them a potential start date allows them to ramp up baseball activity. So they shouldn't need all that much.
Right.
Maybe the pitchers, you're trying to get pitchers ready. And, we had Lester on our podcast there a couple of weeks ago, and he said, he didn't want to waste any bullets. So he didn't want to be throwing a bunch of bullpens during this idle time. But I'm sure he was playing long toss and keeping his arms stretched out, playing catch. So it shouldn't take that much to get up to, up to some level where he could, give you 3 or 4 innings even, if he didn't feel comfortable, throwing 90 pitches at the start of this. So I think some of the need for X amount of time has been overstated a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't a guy, like John Lester said, he doesn't want to throw bullpens, but you'd be throwing bullpens in between your starts. I mean, if we were in the regular season, so I mean, wouldn't you want to keep some of that, that callus going? No.
I would say I would think if I were him or any pitcher, I would want to. If I had a catcher at my disposal and I could get on a mound once a week, even to throw for 15, 20 minutes, and then play catch every other day and long toss in between. I think the fact that it's such a foreign situation, the guys aren't sure what they're going to need, so they'd rather err on the side of give me more than give me less. But I think in reality, they could probably get by with less. And there's always, I don't know that it applies in this situation, but in previous work stoppages, the players were told not to work out. I don't think that happened now. I'm sure it didn't happen now. But back in the day, the union would say, you know what? Tell everybody you're going home and you're just going to sit on the couch, and that will put a little pressure on the clubs to come to the table. Different situation here, so I don't think that applies.
Yeah, I feel like players would be hard pressed to just not to shut everything down. I just feel like just the day and age that we're in, 2020. I feel like there is no off season anymore for guys, man.
And they have so much at their disposal in terms of batting cages at their houses and all the facilities and all the gear that they have. It's
absolutely.
Hey JD, so we're just trying to get the sync right. Could we just get a slow 10 count from you? We're just trying to make sure we're all synced up.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm not watching the stream. Back to 30? Okay. JD, one more time and stand by real quick. Sorry. All right, 10 count here if you can. One more time, JD. Thanks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Thanks, JD. We're just checking something real quick, guys.
Does Pete just go silent, or is he?
Pete, we lost your mic there.
Oh, there you go. How's that? You got me?
There it is. Gotcha. Yep, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Miller, I'm all set here.
Okay, we're all set to go here. So starting a one shot of Cole coming out. Hi, hello. Toss into the Brzezinski shot, and you can just count yourself back in whenever you want, and we'll just keep going with the rest of the A block.
You got it.
Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Come and get it. Another Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite is on the air. I'm Cole Wright, but never mind that, because 14 years ago to the day, what a moment in the Crosstown Classic. Michael Barrett, AJ Brzezinski. We know there was a collision. Punches were thrown. Benches cleared. And Michael Barrett, he's going to join us right here on the show today to take a trip down memory lane. But we can't do that until we meet the guys running the four-man weave. And let's do so, because Bruce Levine is here. So is JD and Pete McMurray. Always locked and loaded. And guys, it was the punch heard round Chicago. So let's get to it. Let's take another look at that solid right from Michael Barrett on AJ Brzezinski. All right. In 3, 2, 1. All right, guys. So 122 interleague matchups between the Cubs and the Sox, and that had to be the most memorable when it comes to the Crosstown Classic. So without further ado, let's get to our Miller Lite refreshing take of the day. When it comes to the Cubs and Sox rivalry, well, that's the only one that matters when it comes to Cubs fans. Who's going first here?
Sorry, that's my bad.
Yeah. No, it's my fault. I should have known. Like I thought maybe if somebody knew. I thought if it was my mistake. God, dog.
No, we'll go with Bruce. We'll go down the line. So pick it up from that side. That's fine.
Cool. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, 122 interleague meetings between the Sox and the Cubs in that Crosstown Classic. Well, 14 years ago, it was as good as it gets. And that gets us to our Miller Lite refreshing take of the day, where I ask you, is that Cubs-Sox rivalry the only rivalry that matters when it comes to Cubs fans? Bruce, what say you?
Oh, no. I mean, look, Cubs and White Sox have only been playing each other since 1997. So you go back in time and, the turn of the century was the Cubs and Giants. And then it quickly became the Cubs-Cardinals rivalry, the 300 miles between the two. The fan base is split in half between the top of Illinois and the bottom of Illinois, and the Cardinal fans being down in the southern Illinois area. So it's always been Cardinals as number one, but it's cyclical because, for a long time it was the Mets. Now it's more, the question is it the Cardinals or the Brewers, now that both are intense rivalries every year? But I'm going to stick with the Cardinals for right now.
Makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. The Cardinals are the Cubs' top rivalry. I think all Cub fans most Cub fans would agree with that. I think what makes a rivalry is when you're fighting for the same prize. So two teams within the same division. With all the history between the Cardinals and the Cubs, that is one of the great rivalries in all of sports, not just in Major League Baseball. The Brewers have reared their head here in recent years, so they're in the mix when you talk about that rivalry conversation. Now, if there ever came a day where the White Sox and the Cubs were in the same league and certainly the same division, then man, how much fun would that be? Then that rivalry would really take off. And as far as AJ and Michael Barrett, I think those two guys with their personalities, they would have been willing to scrap regardless of what uniforms they were wearing at the time. But it did provide a little extra color to the Cubs White Sox.
I love AJ and Michael Barrett because they played with passion. Cubs and Sox fans, they love to hate each other. Before I was married 20 years ago, I lived with a 6'6", 265-pound Sox fan from Oak Lawn, and he reminded me every day how much he hated the Chicago Cubs. I mean, the rivalry with the Sox is fun, but I have to agree with Bruce and JD. It's the St. Louis Cardinals, same division every single year. The Cardinals put a good product on the field, but it's also fun to hate the Milwaukee Brewers. It's got to be a team in your division. Sure, it's fun in the same city, but the St. Louis Cardinals would be my pick.
Bruce, what about some of the moves that the White Sox have made in the offseason and in the years past? They look to be restoking that flame. So could that reignite the rivalry, Crosstown Classic again?
Yeah, Cole, that's a great point that you bring up. When the teams are equal and they're both talented, it gives a bigger edge. So for the only time in history that both teams went to the playoffs in the same year, except 1906, was 2008, and that was as intense a rivalry as there ever was. Now you look at 2020, and if we're fortunate enough to have a season, we're going to see the White Sox and Cubs play at least 6 times this year, and it'll be in a quicker fashion because it's within 80 games. As JD said, you take that and you step on the gas, you go from 0 to 60 very quickly. If they're playing 15 games every year, then we have to look back at this episode here and reevaluate which is the more intense rivalry.
I would love the White Sox and the Cubs in the same division. I mean, look at the White Sox. They stocked up in the offseason. They have so much young talent. The Cubs won the World Series 4 years ago. Guys, we're getting old, and we're talking about trading off one of the greatest third basemen that we've ever had in the history of the franchise. The thing is with the Cubs, they're the favored pretty boy son in the city of Chicago. The Sox are gritty, hardworking, son of the city of Chicago. It's going to be fun to watch this year with the Sox, how they've loaded up in the offseason with this young talent.
Yeah, and they are a team on the rise. If not this year, in the next 2 or 3 years, the White Sox are going to be really good, and that's the challenge that's in front of the Cubs right now, to try to keep this championship window open. And obviously, this abbreviated season is going to make that much more harder for Theo and company to do. But just circling back a little bit to the whole Cubs-White Sox thing, I don't want to diminish the passion of some fans, because there are a lot of people in this town that literally do hate the team on the other side of town. I think most of them are on the south side. That's my sense. That the White Sox fans are a little more bitter towards the Cubs than Cub fans are towards the White Sox. That might be a little, big brother, little brother kind of vibe going on. So it's that's the dream scenario, right? Cubs, White Sox, World Series. I mean, how much fun would that be?
Well, we'll see if that rivalry intensifies with those proposed 3 divisions this year. The Cubs and the White Sox, they would be in the Central. The Central would be the NL Central and the AL Central. You just would take the Pittsburgh Pirates out, and then you would put the Atlanta Braves in. So we will see. And there's much more to get to right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. We're packing a punch as Michael Barrett stops by to take us trip down memory lane. He's going to let us know what led to fisticuffs nearly a decade and a half ago in that Crosstown Classic. That's next, right here. You're watching Cubs 360.
Nice, good segment there, especially bringing it to the potential future season here, and they might square up a couple more times than usual.
Right.
So that B block is on tape with Barrett. Bruce and Cole did a nice job with that interview. He was good. Opened up. He was open for whatever. So we're in the C block now. He's in the Nationals organization
for the Nats.
Yeah,
he's got 7 kids
in the minors. 7.
Yeah, he does. He does have 7 kids. He does have.
He was feeding the 3-month-old as we were taping.
Wow.
Catholic
or Mormon? That could be a new game show. That could be a new segment. Catholic or Mormon?
Hold on, let me write that down for the radio show.
Yeah.
Play that on Monday.
Where's he from?
Yeah.
Is he from Utah or Georgia?
So for the C block here, we're coming off a play-at-home promo. Cole, you should have some copy for that.
Yeah,
and,
Hamill Marshall.
Yep. They asked the question, who has the most strikeouts in Cubs history? And it's Fergie Jenkins. Hamill's got it right. And then we're coming out to the panel. If you need a strikeout, who's the one pitcher in Cubs history you would want on the mound? JD, real quick. I know what the other guys are going to answer. Who's your pick? I just want to make sure.
I'm going to settle on Kerry Wood.
Whoa!
Given what
you want me to go? I'll go somewhere else, and so we don't repeat on any of them.
Calvin Schiraldi.
Let JD have Woody. I'll go with someone else.
Bruce, go with like
You
the
want
most obscure
Marvel?
name.
Or we'll find out live. We'll
No.
find out live.
Yeah, okay.
I can go in a different direction too, Bruce, if you prefer.
No, that's good. I just
could fight it out.
No, that's fine.
JD, can I get one more 10 count from you? I made one more adjustment, if you don't mind.
All righty, here we go. 1,
No one going Carl's Jr.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Great, thank you.
The one thing that always got me about Carl Edwards Jr., man, is like he threw. I mean,
JD, can you also remove the
but
clock over your right shoulder? Can you just get that out of the frame? Sorry, thank you.
But didn't Carl Edwards Jr., you guys, don't you think he pitched like with his stuff? He pitched like he had Jamie Moyer stuff. Like he was always like afraid he was going to get rocked. Like he never was just like, come out here like, okay, here it is. Go ahead and hit it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if it was. I mean, there was a time when he was kind of riding high, where he was a little more aggressive. But I think once he got hit around a little bit, if he had a bad outing, he could spiral downhill. And I don't know if it was approach or just ability. You know, the inability to command his stuff. But it was definitely
Get him. JD,
it was almost rare that you see a guy with that. Oh, go ahead.
We want to get the clock completely out of the shot altogether. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that. Appreciate it.
You give us that's a dead giveaway.
I should have set it to 7:30.
I thought the show was on at 6
to 4.
Bruce, can we do the same with you? Just a slow 10 count. Just want to triple check your lip sync here.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Perfect.
All right, so Dusold, we're all good to go here?
We're good to go. Roll.
Sweet.
What's the order?
Let's just take a full one shot. Let's go with reverse order. So we'll start with you and we'll end on Bruce. And Cole, just at the end, we're teasing 2016 World Series nickname
team. Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hamill versus Marshall. It's going to be a pitcher's duel coming up next right here on Play at Home Trivia. You can only find it on Marquee Sports Network. You won't want to miss that for a second. Now, Jason Hamill hit the nail on the head. Ferguson Jenkins, he was filthy, no doubt about it. He leads the Cubs all time when it comes to strikeouts, 2,038. And Bruce, JD, and Pete, I'm sure they already knew that stat. There's no denying that. So, guys, I'll pose this question. If you needed someone to get a strikeout, you have bases loaded, Cubs up by 1, and you got to put a guy on the hill who is going to get that punch out, Pete, who are you going with this time?
Well, I thought of Lee Smith, first of all, because I loved what he did in the 80s. Kerry Wood, of course, the 20 strikeout game. I love Kid K. But if I had to go with one guy to get a strikeout, I would go with the guy that was here for a cup of coffee, the Cuban Missile, Aroldis Chapman. When he was here, guys, he threw a 105-mile-an-hour fastball. His ERA was under 2. Save after save, strikeout after strikeout. I mean, minus Game 7. We don't need to talk about that. And by the way, we won the World Series. But Aroldis Chapman, the Cuban flamethrower, would be my pick.
Well, that's a fine pick, Pete. And it's hard to argue against Aroldis Chapman. However, you could make a case for Craig Kimbrell, currently on this Cubs roster, who, along with Chapman, has the highest strikeout rate all time among major league relievers. But I went with the guy you mentioned earlier, Kerry Wood. Woody, of course, when he was healthy, was a dominant strikeout pitcher, the 20 strikeout game. He has the first the third and the fifth best single-season strikeout rates in Cubs history. When you look at that list, it's just about all players who played in the 2000s and beyond. The nature of the game has changed. So I think some of the guys from the Wayback Machine, Fergie Jenkins included, Greg Maddux to a certain extent, probably get shortchanged a little bit because it's a little bit easier to strike out people in the modern game. And the other interesting note I found with digging around a little bit in terms of their career mark, Mark Pryor actually has a better lifetime strikeout per 9 rate than Kerry Wood. But I'm going with Kid K in his prime.
Well, I'm going back into the Wayback Machine and going for the 1979 Cy Young Award winner in the National League, and that would be Bruce Sutter from 1977 through probably 1982 or 3. He was the most dominant relief pitcher maybe in the history of the game of baseball, with all due respect to Chapman. The pitch that dropped so many inches, and if I needed a strikeout back in that era, and it was the 9th inning with 2 outs, I wanted Bruce Sutter to be up there. The swing and miss possibilities were very high for him. So it's a Sutter for me for that one strikeout.
Bruce, JD, I thought maybe one of you guys would have gone the direction where Pete was going initially with, of course, Lee Smith. He's 7-time All-Star, 4-time saves leader,
He was great.
Hall of Famer in 2019. He was as good as it gets, and he was always letting his soul glow. He's feeling so silky smooth out there.
How about you, Darvish?
It was a thing of beauty. You Darvish commanding stuff, no doubt
#1 all
about
time
that.
in strikeout rate.
There's no wrong answer there, guys, and there's still more to come right here.
Carlos
on Cubs
Marmol.
360 presented. Also a good choice. Also a good choice. We'll continue to kick that around here as the show progresses. We'll also talk about that 2016 team because they broke through an 108-year curse. Steve Traxel not included, but other than champs, what are we going to call those guys? We're going to give them a nickname next right here. You're watching Cubs 360. Calvin Schiraldi?
Nice. Love the fun end of the segment.
Smooth Pete with the light.
Oh my gosh, did you guys see that? I don't know what happens in this conference room. Hold on, let me wave it again. Yeah. I got to remember that. Okay.
I was on Bruce's shot, so all good.
Yeah, you guys couldn't see that.
I didn't see. Yeah, what happened? I didn't see.
The lights went out in my conference room here at GN.
You getting your Teddy Pendergrass on? Boom, boom, light a candle.
Oh boy!
All right, so D block here. We're coming straight up on the 4 shot.
Yep.
Real quick, about 30 seconds each on the answers. What nickname should we give to the 2016 World Series team?
Who's starting?
Let's start with JD for this one. We'll go JD, Bruce, and Pete. Pete, could you just give me a mic check? We might have lost your audio there for a second.
Hello, you got me? Hi guys.
Yep. Yeah. We're all good. Yep.
Got it.
Sorry, I just probably lost it there, but all good. Dusold, we good to go?
Ready to roll.
Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, shutting things down here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite with Bruce, JD, and Pete. And guys, MLB.com, they ranked the best team nicknames in the history of the game. And the Big Red Machine, the Reds from the 70s, coming out on top. Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, they were as good as it gets. They distanced themselves from Murderer's Row, from the Amazing Mets, and there were a lot of good nicknames. There were 25 teams listed, and that 2016 Cubs team, you know where they landed? They didn't land on it at all because they don't even have a nickname. So, guys, if we were to give a nickname to the world champion 2016 Chicago Cubs, JD, what's the nickname for them?
Such a tough assignment. Alliteration always works. I thought maybe Madden's Marauders. This is the team that won 103 games. They were 17-5 in April. They won the division by 17.5 games. So I considered that one. Pass it aside. How about something along the lines of the once in every 108, you got to be freaking kidding me years? Maybe or like Haley's Comet, something that only comes around once in a great while. We can call them the Comets. But I pushed that aside as well, and I settled on the lovable winners, right? Because the Cubs for so long were the lovable losers. And this was a good bunch of guys that did everything right. They played well. They said the right things. They pitched well. They hit. They played the whole game. So I'm going to go with lovable winners.
Well, I bounced around Miracles, the Chicago Miracles, because it certainly was one after 108 years. But then Centurions popped into my head. They were the soldiers of the old Roman Empire. They were supposed to train for 100 years of protection of that Roman Empire. So to me, that 108-year curse was beaten by the Chicago Centurions.
I don't even know what that means, but I was thinking the cardiac Cubs, but I decided on Madden's Maniacs, because if you remember in 2016, these maniacs would do anything Joe Madden asked. You guys, we got to put on zany suits for this road trip. They did it. Guys, we have to put on tracksuits with a crazy nickname on the back. They did it. Guys, you got to put on dresses. By the way, Javi Baez looked great in a dress. He had nice legs. But Madden's Maniacs would be my nickname for that 2016 team.
I was going to go with the alliteration factor with just the comeback kids, but I think that too many people have probably used that one before. I'm going to go with Bruce and the Centurions because that makes me want to go watch 300, Gladiator, and Troy all in the same day. And with all this time on our hands, guys, I just may do so because our time here is up. So for everyone at Marquee Sports Network, including Bruce, JD, and Pete, I'm Cole Wright. We'll see you tomorrow. Go watch an epic movie or so.
Nice. Good way to wrap a bow on that.
Good stuff, guys.
Good job there.
The Centurions.
All right, so we just got one more segment, which is for Memorial Day. Who is America's team? Obviously, Cowboys is an obvious answer for football, but baseball doesn't really have a standout answer. So, Cole, when we're coming back, just make sure we reintroduce the panel because this is the first time we're seeing JD and Pete on this episode.
JD and Pete,
Yep.
How long is this segment? Is it multiple questions?
It'll be about 5 minutes total. So probably a re-tee depending on where we go.
Okay.
But this isn't the last block. We're taking the last block tomorrow, so it's not like we have to hit an exact time. And let's start with.
Did the Cowboys become America's team? Is it because of their broadcast rights? Do they get the most games on TV? Is that the most people saw them? Or
I think it was just those 80s teams, right?
No, it was
yeah,
the 70s.
They were winners. They had a brash owner, and they had some brash players. I think that's how it came about. What do you guys think? I mean, they were, they're kind of the flashy 70s
marketing campaign by somebody with the team.
Yeah,
the cheerleaders. An awesome job. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
No,
Pete's right.
That's also a good point.
That's right.
I mean, because the Steelers, were every bit as good, if not better, you would think. It's like with all those championships that they racked up.
Yeah, I think the cheerleaders did separate them.
I feel like
definitely.
Plus Dallas got popular. J.R. Ewing rolling around at North Fork.
Dusold, just take a one shot and we can check. Yeah. You're just having maybe an issue with the green screen, but it looks good now to me.
Hey, is the red Cubs 360 background only for the weekend shows?
Correct.
Yeah, it's for
the best of weekly. Okay, we can start on the 4.
Bob Ryan notch came up with America's team, huh? Boston Globe writer.
Leave it to a Boston guy.
Called the Patriots red, white, and blue. You know what I'm saying? You think they would have called Bob Ryan? And
so we'll go Pete, JD, Bruce here.
Wrong Bob Ryan.
Dusold recordings all set?
Now, is this a certain
going
year
with?
or just a certain team?
This is just a overall franchise.
Okay.
Make it up,
Who we
Pete.
start with, Miller?
Pete, then JD, then Bruce. But the two newcomers to the show in terms of first time we're seeing them in this special show go first.
It's great to be here.
All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, we continue to roll on this Memorial Day edition of Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. And I'm back here with my man, Bruce Levine, and also joined now by JD and Pete McMurray. And guys, we already took a look at the best baseball players that are American born, not named Mike Trout. We also threw a few pitchers in there. We sprinkled them in just for fun. So now it's time to take it one step further. If we were taking a look at America's team in baseball, we know that the NFL, they have the Dallas Cowboys, but Pete, what do you say? Is there an America's team when it comes to Major League Baseball?
There absolutely is, and it's the Chicago Cubs. And I'll tell you why, because everyone loves an underdog. No, don't do that. No, I'll tell you why. Because everyone loves an underdog, and it took years, 108 years, to finally get to the World Series. Think about what happened in 2016. People all over the planet wanted to watch Game 7 to see if the Chicago Cubs were going to finally win. You had people going to cemeteries to watch Game 7 with their dead relatives, bringing families together. I mean, grown men crying. It's the Chicago Cubs, without a doubt, is America's team.
See, I've got to change my notes because that's what I was going to say, and you took the Cubs. So I'll go to Plan B. We know this. It's not the Toronto Blue Jays. I kind of like the Toledo Mud Hens. They've been playing minor league baseball in Toledo since 1896. It's Middle America. It's the Mud Hens. It's Toledo. I like the Toledo Mud Hens, so I'm going to give them my ringing endorsement as America's team. Get out there and root on your Mud Hens, people.
Yeah, Pete, I don't know what type of cable connection you have at those cemeteries, but nonetheless, I'm going to have to go with the Atlanta Braves because back in the 70s, they were the first team to have cable TV, and the entire country got to watch Atlanta Braves baseball. Yeah, the Cubs were close, and the Mets were there too, but I think it was I think it was the Atlanta Braves that first had the claim to America's team, and I'll go with the Atlanta Braves back then. But if you want to stay current, it's the Washington Nationals right now. It's our nation's capital. They're the world champions. So for 2020, you can go with the Nats on Memorial Day.
Yeah, Bruce, and they were underdogs. That's also a very good point. Now, all you guys seem to be going very centrally located. You're not going coastal. No one going with the Yankees or the Dodgers, JD?
Well, you can make an argument for both those clubs. Certainly the Yankees, they have a tremendous following wherever they go, much like the Cubs. Fans show up wherever the Yankees go. But they're the evil empire, so we're not going to put the Yankees on that list. If you want to talk in just terms of geography, let's go Washington Senators. Never mind the Nationals, because they were in Washington, and then they moved to Minnesota, and then there was another iteration of the Senators, and then they moved to Texas and became the Rangers. So they maybe are America's team.
JD, I love this. By the way, the Toledo Mud Hens, wasn't that Jamie Farr Klinger's hat that he wore on MASH? I think
Absolutely.
so.
Yeah. It's a huge Mud Hen.
You're back to the guys in women's dresses, Pete. So watch where you're going right now.
Here's the thing. Yankees, Dodgers, okay, you love that team or you hate them. It's like Duke University or, pick any team that you love to hate. It's the Cubs, Middle America, and Bruce brought it up. The Atlanta Braves were on cable early on. That's how people in California fell in love with the Chicago Cubs all over the United States. Again, America loves an underdog, and that is your Chicago Cubs.
Well, Pete's got a great point. But since they won a World Series, I wonder if a little of the luster is off of that. And, again, America's team these days, from watching on TV, we're so spoiled that we can watch every team every night on the MLB package. that we have specialty, nights where you'll have, pickup from the national partners, and now Marquee will have all the Cub games completely. So I think we're a little oversaturated, and maybe we're more provincial again as far as who we consider to be America's team.
Well, Klinger may have been a Toledo Mud Hens fan, but one thing we do know is that Hawkeye and Hot Lips Houlihan, they were Cubs fans 8 days a week. Now, guys, much more coming your way right here on Cubs 360, including us spanning the lower 48 to see who has the best ballpark food in all the bigs. And, it wouldn't be Memorial Day if we didn't do that. Our picks coming your way right next here on Cubs 360.
Nice. I love that Toledo answer. That's great.
The
Nice.
Toledo Mud Hens. The best.
The Hackensack Bulls.
I had a Toledo Mud Hens sweatshirt.
Montgomery Burns.
Montgomery
Burns.
The Columbus Clippers in the
Pete, I have a
International
nice
League.
chiffon dress picked out for you for the next show.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say,
Jamie
like he was wearing
Farr,
when he wasn't wearing a woman's hat, trying to get discharged.
he was Lebanese. I'm Lebanese. It works. We both have hairy legs.
too much information.
I have to say though, even though I feel like I know just for trivia purposes about MASH, and I know it's still like the highest rated TV show, the finale episode, I still can't get with MASH, man. Not funny. I had a professor in college who loved MASH.
For that. Stop it. Go to confession for that comment.
Terrible. It's terrible. I guess I'm just not old enough. But now I'm old enough to get the
MASH
jokes,
is,
and I just
MASH is
not that funny. MASH is MASH is awful. Miller jumps in. Nice.
Great
All
show
right,
today.
guys.
Great show today, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for the
right.
extra segment too.
Have a
Take
great
care,
weekend, guys.
Yes.
Hey Miller,
Yeah.
do we know as far as the breaking news, like what our standby is? Like what time do we have to stand by
So
until?
we're not capable of going breaking news just yet. We're kind of working through a lot of testing right now. So once we once we figure out when we can have the capability to just kind of spin something up last minute, I'm sure we'll be kind of making everyone aware, like, hey, now we're potentially ready to have something. But right now, you don't have to worry about anything. It's not like if at 10 p.m. tonight they announce we're playing a season, we don't have the capability to go live. So
No. But like, what is my leash? Like, say we find out at 2:00 that something's going on, or not 2:00 because it's 2:30 right now, but it's my time. But okay, say at 5:00 your time, you know what I'm saying, and it's 3:00 over here. I mean, do we have how much time do I have to get in position? So I know if I have to run any errands, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, Malik will jump in here. I think it all depends.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just play it by ear, Cole. When we know more, I mean, we're not going to. If you can't be on until another 30 minutes, then we won't go on the air for another 30 minutes. But if you're home and we can get on the air and we're up and ready, then we're going to get up. So it's really a case-by-case case. I mean, it's not like you guys should not be living your lives in the waiting for breaking news to happen.
Okay. Because I was gonna run some errands. I had something planned with the little one, but I just want to know how much. Is it a 45-minute window we have?
Yeah, you should do all that. I mean, but there's still no window. I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not only today. She was sending that out just in general.
Okay, no doubt. Just want to make sure. So I mean, it's not like we need to be say, okay, we need you on not right now. Like, so in 5 minutes, I'm like, on the other side of town. So you got it, no doubt.
Oh yeah, you're good. All right, thanks,
Good stuff,
Cole.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Show today.
Thank you.
Later, fellas. Later, JD.
Good night.